Ankylosing Spondylitis, my friends, welcome. My name is Sky Denton, and you are in the right spot because today I have a fantastic story for you. I'm going to tell you the story of Ankylosing Spondylitis, and trust me, it's definitely not one that you've heard before. If you have AS, or if you know someone that has AS, this could be one of the most important and optimistic videos that you will ever watch. And just a heads up, the story is not going to start out like you might expect, but in just a few moments, it'll all make sense. I trust you're excited, so let's begin. The first records for the fastest 1-mile run for humans on foot that are considered accurate by current standards weren't kept until the mid-1800s. It was then that consistent guidelines were finally established for building running surfaces in order to make sure everything was consistent and fair for all the runners all over the world. In 1852, Charles Westall established the modern benchmark for the 1-mile run at the brand new track that was built in London. His time was a blazing 4 minutes and 28 seconds. This record remained for a very long time, and in fact, it was 6 years before it was broken, which in the world of foot running, if you don't know, is a very long time. Eventually, over the years, this record was broken at least 31 times, all of them by just a second or even fractions of a second. Yet none of these new times were under the 4-minute goal, the 4-minute mile, which had become the ultimate goal for runners across the world. Despite the danger and risks involved in pushing the body to absolute maximum effort consistently, runners strived for and exhausted themselves over and over to try and break this 4-minute mile. For decades, runners made these attempts, and year after year upon unsuccessful trials from the best runners in the world, it seemed humans were simply not physically capable to run 1 mile in under 4 minutes. It was believed our bodies were just not able to maintain that amount of effort required to accomplish such an amazing feat. It became widely accepted throughout the world that this was an impossible task. In fact, this belief was around for so long that there are multiple generations of people who never even questioned it. For them, it was simply an irrefutable fact. No one in under 4 minutes could run this far. That was until one man did a seemingly impossible thing. On May 6, 1954, a British medical student named Roger Bannister broke this elusive barrier for the first time in recorded history. In Oxford, England, Roger Bannister ran a mind-blowingly fast time of 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. This changed the world forever because what everyone thought was impossible had in fact just been done. And not only that, it had been well documented. For those that were certain that no human could run a sub 4-minute mile, Roger Bannister's record-breaking time was a miracle. How could someone do this, they thought? It's impossible. To Roger Bannister, however, his achievement was not a miracle at all. For him, it was the end product of the logic and the reasoning that convinced him that it could be done, and not only that, but that he could do it. Roger Bannister broke a record, and at the same time, he shattered a collective belief that had been intact throughout the world for over a century. The fastest people in the world, and countless attempts, it had still taken 102 years for this record to be broken. Now this, my friends, is where it all gets very interesting, and how this story starts to fit into the power of today's theme and today's video. Because less than 8 weeks later, weeks you guys, John Landy of Australia broke Roger Bannister's record. And not just by a little bit, but by a colossal 2 seconds. Once it was clear that the 4-minute mile was no longer the limit for human potential running, the beliefs of the other runners throughout the world were freed up to discover what the new limits might look like for them. Once one man believed that he could run a mile in under 4 minutes, and then successfully did so, it changed the collective beliefs of the runners around the world. And today, these record times just keep coming in. And in fact, since Roger Bannister's day, nearly 20 seconds have been shaved off of this infamous 4-minute mile that everyone thought was so impossible only years ago. Now, today, even strong high school students can run a mile in under 4 minutes. As Roger Bannister's example so clearly demonstrates, It takes only one person to show us that something is possible. One person to show the rest of us that things can be different. And that person's logic and that person's experience can give the rest of us the permission to create new possibilities for ourselves. For all of you AS sufferers out there, I'm delighted to tell you that today, this is the same story as ankylosing spondylitis, and that's why I'm telling this to you right now. You see, for so long, people believed that once they were diagnosed, that there was nothing they could do. And after they were diagnosed, they felt so helpless. We now know this simply doesn't have to be true. There's actually a lot you can do. For me, and for numerous others, the person who broke this record was not Roger Bannister, but a man named Peter Winslow. Peter's recovery, which he's written about, was not a miracle. It was the product of the logic and the reasoning that taught him that recovery from AS symptoms actually is possible. The belief that we are powerless over AS has now been shattered by many others. And this is now opening up a doorway and a new understanding of health for you. People like you who have lived with AS for years, and some even decades, are recovering from these symptoms. And what we've learned from the story of both Roger Bannister and Peter Winslow is that these are not miraculous healings or miraculous achievements at all. In fact, to those of us who have achieved this success with AS pain, it is simply a byproduct of a more complete understanding of what affects our health. I know exactly how I did it. I know exactly the steps I took, and I know exactly why they worked. And what's even better is I've seen the same method work in the lives of other people as well. It is not a miracle, my friends. It is logic. The thing is that you must be educated. You need to know about this in order to make it happen in your life. My friends, my beautiful friends, let's get serious for one moment because this is very important. The guidance is available to you to help make this happen in your life. Hardly anyone can do it alone, but with help and the proper guidance and coaching, it can be a lot easier than you think. If you have AS, there's no better time to be alive than right now, because a map has been created by people like myself who were forced to go in front of you. We were forced to figure this stuff out. And with this map, it can be a lot easier for you. This story today is my gift to you. It is now up to you to decide whether a better life, a life with less pain, is something that you will reach for. After watching this video, send me an email. Tell me what you think about this story. Let me know if it excites you as much as it obviously excites me. And if you're also ready to learn the logic behind recovery from AS pain, fantastic, tell me. We'll set you up with a free short phone call and we'll get you started. Take advantage of what is in front of you right now. AS Freedom can be one of the most beneficial resources you will ever find. My name is Sky Denton. I coach people with AS because that is what I suffered from for so long. And you, my friend, I see better days ahead for you.